What if the phone rang? And the police told you the call was coming from upstairs? Not outside the house. Not from a stranger's number. But from inside the home you were babysitting in. Have you ever watched someone else's children late at night? Sat in a quiet living room while the rest of the house felt unfamiliar? Every creak louder than it should be. Every shadow is slightly out of place. Babysitting is supposed to be simple. Feed the kids. Put them to bed. Keep the house safe. But what happens when the house isn't empty? Tonight on Creeping Whispers, we're sharing 3 disturbing babysitting horror stories inspired by real reports from across the United States, stories involving late-night calls, children describing figures no one else could see, and the terrifying realization that someone may have already been inside. If true stories like these fascinate you, and you want more psychological horror told documentary style, make sure you're subscribed now. Because the first story begins with a single phone call. That should have been impossible. Story 1. The call from the second floor. Winter, 2024. Just outside Chicago. The neighborhood was quiet. Large homes. Wide driveways. Snow packed neatly along the sidewalks like folded blankets. It was the kind of place where porch lights stayed on through the night and nothing ever really happened. 19-year-old Avery Cole had babysat before. Plenty of times. But never in a house this large. The parents were attending a charity event downtown. Black tie. They'd be home around midnight, maybe later if traffic was bad. They had 2 kids, Mason, age 8, and Lila, age 6. Polite. Calm. The kind of kids who made the job easy. When Avery arrived, everything felt normal. The house was warm. Soft instrumental music played faintly from a speaker in the kitchen. The father showed her how to arm the security system. The mother reminded her where the emergency contacts were written, on a notepad near the fridge. Routine. By 8:30 p.m., the kids were in pajamas. By 9 o'clock, they were brushing their teeth. Snow drifted steadily outside, muting the world beyond the windows. At 9:17 p.m., Lila stopped mid-sentence while walking down the hallway. She tilted her head. "Do you hear that?" Avery paused. She listened. Nothing. "Hear what?" Avery asked gently. Lila frowned. "He's walking again." Avery smiled the way adults do when children say things they don't understand. "Who's walking?" "Upstairs," Lila said quietly. "The second floor. The parents' bedroom. Guest room. Storage closet. No one else was home." Avery forced a small laugh. "It's probably the heater kicking on." But even as she said it, she wasn't sure. The house had radiant heating. Not vents. Not forced air. And radiant systems don't make footsteps. 9:42 p.m. Both kids were in bed. Mason fell asleep almost immediately. Lila restless. Avery settled onto the couch downstairs with her phone. The TV volume was low. Outside, snow thickened, swallowing sound. That's when the landline rang. The sound was sharp. Outdated. Almost startling in its volume. Avery blinked. Who even used landlines anymore? She walked to the kitchen and picked it up. "Hello." Silence. No breathing. No static. Just an open line. "Hello," she repeated. Click. The line went dead. A wrong number, she assumed. She returned to the couch. 2 minutes later. It rang again. This time she felt it in her chest before she heard it. Ring. Ring. She stood slowly. Answered. "Hello." Nothing. But this time, she thought she heard something faint. Not breathing. Not words. A soft shift. Like fabric brushing against a receiver. Then. Click. Her stomach tightened. Prank calls weren't unusual. But something about the timing felt deliberate. She checked her cell phone. No missed calls. No unknown numbers. She considered texting the parents, but stopped herself. No reason to alarm them. Still, she walked toward the security panel near the front door. Everything showed green. All the windows were closed. All doors locked. She exhaled. That's when she heard it. A slow, deliberate step. Above her. Not a thud. Not a pipe expanding. A step. Directly over the living room ceiling. Avery froze. Another step followed. Then silence. She told herself not to panic. The house was old. Old houses settle. She moved toward the staircase. Halfway up, she stopped. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her heart jumped. She answered. Hello. Silence. Then. A faint sound. This time she was sure of it. A breath. Close to the receiver. Slow. Intentional. And then. A whisper. Not a word. Not a sentence. Just a faint exhale. And the call disconnected. Avery stared at her phone screen. Unknown caller. No location. No voicemail. Her pulse was loud in her ears now. She climbed the rest of the stairs. The second-floor hallway was dark except for a nightlight glowing near the bathroom. The parents' bedroom door was slightly open. She didn't remember it being open. Hello, she called softly. No answer. She stepped inside. The room looked untouched. Bed made. The closet is closed. Window locked. She checked the guest room. Empty. Storage closet. Nothing. She stood still in the hallway, listening. Nothing moved. Nothing breathed. She almost laughed at herself. Maybe she was overreacting. She went back downstairs. 10:08 p.m. The landline rang again. This time it rang only once. Just once. She stared at it. It didn't ring again. Instead, her cell phone vibrated. Unknown number. Her hands trembled slightly as she answered. Before she could speak, a voice said something. So faint she almost missed it. Check, upstairs. Then the call ended. Avery's entire body went cold. She looked toward the staircase. Slowly, very slowly, she walked to the security panel again. And this time, one small red light blinked. Upstairs extension active. Extension. The house had multiple phone extensions, including one in the parents' bedroom. Her breathing became shallow. She picked up the landline. Listened. No dial tone. She pressed redial. The call log showed the last incoming call. No external number. Just extension 02. Upstairs. Before we continue, if that realization just made your stomach drop, comment inside the house below. And if you're still watching, tap like. It tells the algorithm you want more real psychological horror like this. Because what happened next is why Avery never babysat again. She called 911. Whispered her situation. The dispatcher told her to gather the children and exit immediately. Avery ran upstairs. Scooped Lila from her bed. Shook Mason awake. No questions, she whispered urgently. They moved quickly but quietly. As they reached the bottom of the stairs, a loud thud echoed from above. Not settling wood. Not subtle. A heavy impact. Like someone dropping down from a height. Avery didn't look back. She unlocked the front door and rushed into the snow, barefoot, children clinging to her. Police arrived within minutes. Officers entered the house cautiously. Avery waited in the back of a patrol car, wrapped in a blanket, the children crying softly beside her. 10 minutes passed. 15. 20. Finally, an officer approached her window. There's no one inside, he said carefully. She felt her body go weak. But, he added, they found something in the attic crawlspace. A sleeping bag. An empty water bottle. And dust disturbed near the phone line junction box. Someone had accessed the upstairs extension. The attic window, barely visible from outside, showed signs it had been tampered with days earlier. Whoever had been there had likely been inside before she even arrived, and had left before officers searched. No fingerprints. No forced entry downstairs. No suspect ever identified. The family changed their locks, installed cameras, moved within 6 months. But Avery still remembers one detail she never told the police. When she ran downstairs with the kids, she heard something behind her. Not footsteps. Not running. Just a slow creak. Like a door opening gently. As if someone was watching them leave. And to this day, she doesn't know if he was still inside when the police arrived. If that unsettled you, the next story is worse. Because in this one, the child didn't just hear someone. She described him. And later, a camera confirmed he was there. Story 2. The Man in the Hallway. Summer, 2023. Outside, Phoenix. The heat lingered even after midnight. The kind of dry warmth that presses against windows and makes the air conditioning hum non-stop. Inside the home, everything felt sealed. Controlled. Quiet. 22-year-old Brielle Carter had just finished her second year of nursing school. Babysitting was easy money between shifts. She preferred quiet neighborhoods like this one, predictable, well-lit, safe. 2 kids. Evan, 8. Harper, 5. The parents were at a birthday dinner. They'd be back around 11:30. By 9:00 p.m., the house was dim except for the soft glow of the television. The kids were watching an animated movie. Nothing scary. Nothing intense. Harper, however, wasn't watching. She kept glancing toward the hallway that led to the bedrooms. Not once. Not twice. Repeatedly. Brielle noticed. "You okay?" she asked gently. Harper nodded. Then shook her head. "There's a man," she said quietly. Brielle smiled in that reassuring way adults do. "What man?" "The tall one." A small chill ran down Brielle's arms despite the air conditioning. "Where is he?" Harper pointed. "Standing in the hallway." Brielle turned. The hallway was empty. Soft yellow light from a nightlight glowed near the baseboard. Doors closed. No movement. "There's no one there," Brielle said calmly. Harper's eyes didn't move. "He smiles," she whispered. "Children imagine things. Especially at night." Brielle had studied pediatric psychology. She knew this. Still, she walked down the hallway. Checked each room. Closets. Under beds. The sliding door to the backyard, locked. Garage entry, secure. Everything is normal. She returned to the living room. Harper was still staring toward the hallway. "He doesn't like when you look at him," Harper added. Brielle forced a laugh. "Let's get ready for bed, okay?" 10:12 p.m. Both kids were in bed. Evan fell asleep quickly. Harper insisted on leaving her door slightly open. "He stands closer when it's closed," she murmured. Brielle didn't argue. She returned to the living room, scrolling through her phone. That's when the baby monitor on the coffee table crackled. A soft burst of static. Then, a whisper. Not clear words. But something layered beneath the hum. Brielle froze. The monitor was audio only for Harper's room. She lifted it slowly. "Harper," she whispered into it. No response. But the whispering sound continued faintly for 2 more seconds. Then silence. She stood. Walked quickly to Harper's room. The child was asleep. The door is still slightly open. Room undisturbed. Brielle checked the closet. Empty. She stepped back into the hallway. That's when she saw it. At the far end of the hall. Near the bathroom. A shape shifted. Not dramatic. Not fast. But unmistakable. Like someone stepping backward into darkness. Her throat tightened. "Hello?" she called out. Silence. Her pulse pounded. She walked forward. Each step is deliberate. The bathroom light was off. She flicked it on. Empty. She checked the linen closet. Nothing. But as she turned to step out, the hallway light flickered. Once. Twice. Then steadied. Her heart was racing now. She told herself it was wiring. Old bulb. Power fluctuation. Except, this house was newly built. She moved back toward the living room. The baby monitor crackled again. And this time, she heard it clearly. A voice. Low. Male. Too close to the microphone. "Stay quiet." Brielle's blood went cold. She sprinted to Harper's room. Threw the door open. Harper was sitting upright in bed, staring at the doorway. "He told me not to talk," Harper said softly. Brielle grabbed her. Checked under the bed. Closet. Bathroom. No one. No broken windows. No open doors. But something felt wrong. Very wrong. She texted the parents. "Hey, quick question, does your security system ever glitch?" The father responded within minutes. "No." "Why?" Before she could reply, the hallway camera notification pinged on her phone. 2:13 a.m. timestamp, except it was only 10:27 p.m. The camera app glitched briefly. Then loaded. The image was grainy. Black and white. But unmistakable. A tall figure. Standing halfway down the hallway. Facing Harper's room. The timestamp corrected itself to live view. The hallway was empty. Brielle felt lightheaded. She replayed the clip. The figure didn't move. Didn't rush. Didn't blur. It simply stood there. And then stepped slowly out of frame. The parents called immediately. "What's going on?" Brielle's voice shook as she explained. The father checked the full camera system remotely. Garage camera. Backyard camera. Front door. Nothing unusual. But when he rewound the garage footage from earlier, he noticed something. At 8:03 p.m. Before Brielle arrived, the garage door opened. Briefly. No car entering. No one was visible. Just opening. Then closing. They hadn't used the garage that evening. Police were called. Again. Officers searched the home thoroughly. This time, they found faint scuff marks near the attic access in the hallway ceiling. The panel wasn't fully sealed. When opened, they discovered disturbed insulation. And a partial footprint in the dust. No suspect found. No DNA. No clear entry point besides the garage moment. Police believed someone may have entered earlier and hidden in the attic crawlspace. Watching. Listening. Waiting. Harper later told her parents something she hadn't told Brielle. "He was there before you came," she said. "He watches sometimes." The family moved within 3 months. They never shared the footage publicly. But Brielle never forgot one detail. In the clip, the figure's head tilted slightly, as if aware of the camera. Before we continue, have you ever dismissed something a child said, only to realize later they were right? If this story is getting under your skin, tap like. It helps Creeping Whispers reach more people who search for real, unsettling stories like these. Because the final story isn't about whispers. Or shadows. It's about something far more real. The last babysitter thought she was alone. The doors were locked. The alarm was armed. The parents were only 45 minutes away. But what she didn't know was that someone had been inside that house for days. Living there. Story 3. Already inside. Spring, 2025. Rural outskirts of Portland. The property sat on nearly 2 acres of land. Tall fir trees pressed in from every side. No streetlights. No sidewalks. Just a long gravel driveway that curved out of sight from the main road. 20-year-old Delaney Brooks agreed to the job because it paid well. One child. Age 6. Name, Rowan. The parents were attending a company retreat an hour away. They assured Delaney they would keep their phones nearby. The house had cameras. A modern security system. Motion alerts enabled. You'll be completely safe, Rowan's mother had said with a warm smile. The house certainly looked secure. New construction. Reinforced windows. Smart locks. Still. The silence felt different here. Not city quiet. Not suburban quiet. Rural quiet. The kind where you hear your own breathing. 8:40 p.m. Rowan was building something with blocks in the living room. Delaney sat nearby, sketchbook in hand. She was an art student. She liked quiet jobs. You can't go in the basement, Rowan said suddenly. Delaney looked up. Why not? Mommy said not to. Okay, Delaney nodded. That's fine. Rowan didn't look reassured. He sleeps there. Delaney lowered her pencil. Who sleeps there? Rowan shrugged. The quiet man. The words weren't dramatic. They were matter-of-fact. Children sometimes create invisible companions. Delaney knew that. Still, she asked gently, have you seen him? Rowan nodded. He comes upstairs when it's dark. A small, uncomfortable weight settled in Delaney's chest. Is he here now? Rowan looked toward the hallway leading to the basement door. He doesn't like lights. Delaney smiled carefully. Let's focus on bedtime, okay? 10:03 p.m. Rowan was asleep. The house lights were dimmed. Delaney checked her phone. Good signal. Parents texted once, everything good? She replied, all good here. As she set her phone down, a notification buzzed. Security system alert. She frowned. Maybe a sensor glitch. The house was new. She opened the security app. Live camera feed. Basement stairs. Dark. Still. No movement. She checked the timestamp. 10:04 p.m. The alert had triggered. But the video showed nothing. She waited. 5 seconds. 10. Nothing. She locked her phone. Told herself not to overthink it. 11:17 p.m. Another alert. This time the live feed showed something different. The basement light. On. Delaney sat upright. She hadn't gone downstairs. She was certain. Her breathing slowed deliberately. She zoomed in on the camera. The light remained on. No visible person. Just illumination spreading across the concrete floor. Her hands trembled slightly as she texted Rowan's mother. Did anyone go into the basement earlier today? The reply came quickly. No. Why? Before Delaney could answer, her phone buzzed again. But this time it was a message from the mother. Are you upstairs? Delaney stared at the text. She typed back, no. I'm in the living room. 3 dots appeared. Then. I'm getting motion alerts upstairs. Delaney's skin prickled. She slowly turned toward the staircase leading to the second floor. It was dark. Still. Her heart began to pound. I'm not moving, she typed. The mother responded, the camera shows someone walking near the hallway. Delaney's breath caught. That's not me. There was a long pause. Then. Call 911. Before we continue. If you were alone in that house right now, motion alerts going off in rooms you're not in, would you go investigate? Comment what you would do. And if you're still watching, subscribe now. Because this final story explains why trusting your instincts might save your life. Delaney moved quietly to Rowan's bedroom. She gently shook him awake. Hey buddy, she whispered. We're going to sit in the car for a bit, okay? Rowan blinked sleepily. "He's awake," he murmured. Her blood ran cold. "Who is?" "The quiet man." The basement door creaked. Not loudly. Just enough to carry down the hallway. Delaney froze. The house alarm panel chimed softly. The basement door opened. She hadn't touched it. Her mind raced. Run. Now. She grabbed Rowan. Moved toward the front door. Halfway there. A floorboard behind her shifted. Not from the basement. From the kitchen. She didn't turn around. She unlocked the door. Cold night air rushed in. They ran barefoot across gravel toward her car. She locked the doors. Called 911. Her hands shook so badly she nearly dropped the phone. Through the windshield. She could see the house. The second floor light flicked on. Then off. Police arrived within 9 minutes. Officers entered cautiously. Cleared the ground floor. Cleared upstairs. Nothing. But when they checked the basement, they found something. A small makeshift bedding area behind a stack of storage bins. Empty food wrappers. Water bottles. A portable phone charger plugged into an outlet. Someone had been living there. For days. Maybe longer. There were no signs of forced entry. Investigators later determined the intruder likely accessed the home through a contractor access hatch during construction months earlier, and had kept a hidden key. He had been inside before the family moved in. Watching routines. Learning schedules. Waiting for empty nights. He was gone before police arrived. No fingerprints. No clear identity. No arrest. The family installed additional cameras. Then I moved out within 6 weeks. But the most unsettling detail? The camera footage. Police reviewed it thoroughly. At 10:58 p.m. Before Delaney received the first upstairs alert. A figure was captured standing at the top of the stairs. Not moving. Just watching. And at 11:15. The basement light switched on. Not automatically. But manually. Someone had flipped the switch. Rowan later told his parents one final thing. He said, "I wasn't supposed to tell." To this day, no one knows how long the man had been inside that house. Or how many nights he stood at the top of those stairs. Listening. 3 babysitters. 3 houses. 3 moments when something didn't add up. A phone call from upstairs. A hallway figure caught on camera. A man living in a basement. Different states. Different families. But one pattern remains the same. The children sensed it first. And the babysitters were alone. If you heard a noise in your house right now, would you check? Or would you lock the door and leave? If these stories kept you watching, tap like. Comment which one disturbed you most. Share this video with someone who babysits, or plans to. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Creeping Whispers. Because sometimes the scariest stories aren't about haunted houses. They're about unlocked doors. Hidden spaces. And the possibility that someone might already be inside.